Title: When Love Moved In. I never thought love could fit inside a 12x14 room, but it did. It was last winter when I got the call from my landlord. "Rents are going up, kid. Either get a roommate or move out." I had no choice. I posted an ad online. A week later, she walked into my life with 2 suitcases and a smile. Her name was Sophia. She had long brown hair that she tied in a messy bun and eyes that seemed to hold 100 stories. She was studying graphic design, and her laugh, God, her laugh could make the worst day feel lighter. At first, we were strangers sharing space. She had her side of the room. I had mine. She listened to music while working on her laptop. I read books in bed. We talked about little things, laundry schedules, who would make dinner, where to keep the extra blanket. But slowly, the space between us began to shrink. It started with coffee. She always made 2 mugs without asking if I wanted one. Then came late-night talks about dreams, about heartbreaks, about fears we never told anyone else. Sometimes we'd just sit in silence, listening to the rain against the window. One night, the power went out. We lit candles, sat on the floor, and shared a blanket. She told me about her childhood, about how she moved from city to city, never feeling like she belonged anywhere. I told her about the loneliness I never admitted to anyone. That night, I realized something. Home wasn't a place anymore. It was her. Weeks turned into months. We started cooking together, watching old movies, leaving little notes for each other. I noticed the way her eyes softened when she looked at me, and maybe, just maybe, mine did the same. One rainy evening, we were both at the window, sipping tea. I don't know what came over me, but I whispered, "I think I'm falling for you." She didn't answer right away. She just reached for my hand and smiled. "I was hoping you'd say that." From that moment, the room felt different, warmer, safer, fuller. And that's how love moved in. Quietly, without asking for permission. Living together after confessing our feelings felt different. Before, we were just roommates. Now, every moment carried a quiet spark. She'd walk around in my oversized hoodie, and I'd pretend not to notice, but inside, my heart would race. Sometimes, I'd wake up to find her still asleep, sunlight touching her face, and I'd think I could watch this for the rest of my life. But love in a shared room wasn't always perfect. We had our first fight over something small, washing dishes. I came home late and found the sink full, and I snapped. She fired back, and before we knew it, we were both silent, avoiding eye contact for 2 days. Those 2 days felt heavier than anything I'd known. The room felt cold, the bed felt bigger, and I realized how much I hated the space between us. Finally, one night, she sat down beside me on the floor and said, "I don't care about the dishes. I care about us." It broke something in me, something proud and stubborn. I held her hand and whispered, "I'm sorry." From then on, we learned. We learned to talk instead of shout, to listen instead of assume. One evening, She brought home fairy lights and hung them above our bed. "Now it looks like the stars came inside," she said. That night, we lay under them, telling stories until we fell asleep. Then came the day she got an internship in another city, 3 months away. The night before she left, we stayed up packing her bags. She was trying to act excited, but I saw the hesitation in her eyes. When the last suitcase was zipped, she turned to me. "What if things change while I'm gone?" I took her face in my hands. "They will," I said. "We'll just make sure they change for the better." When she finally returned months later, she ran into the room and hugged me so tightly that every lonely night melted away. I realized then love isn't just about being together. It's about choosing each other every single day, no matter the distance, no matter the fights, and even in that tiny 12x14 room with its creaky floor and peeling paint, I knew I had everything I needed because she was there. Life in our new apartment was magical at first. We painted the walls ourselves, burnt the first 3 dinners, and bought mismatched mugs from a thrift shop. Every evening, we'd sit on the balcony, watching the city lights flicker like quiet stars. But love is never just sunsets and laughter. 3 months in, Sophia lost her internship. It wasn't her fault the company downsized, but it shook her. She stayed in bed for days, avoiding calls, scrolling through job listings without applying. I tried to cheer her up, but sometimes my words only made her retreat further. One night, in frustration, I said, "I can't be the only one holding this up." The look in her eyes made my chest ache. She whispered, "I'm not just a burden, am I?" I reached for her hand, but she pulled away. For the first time, our home felt quiet in the wrong way. It took weeks of patience, late-night talks, shared silences, and gentle reminders for her to start believing in herself again. She eventually found a small freelance project, and slowly I saw her smile return. That's when I learned love isn't tested when everything's perfect. It's tested when everything's falling apart. When the question was asked, a year passed. We had survived the storm, and we were stronger for it. It was on a cold December night, with fairy lights blinking above us, that I pulled out a small box from my pocket. My hands were trembling. Sophia looked at me, confused. "What's this?" I opened the box to reveal a silver ring. Not flashy, not expensive, just simple, like us. I don't care if the apartment is small or the tap still leaks. I don't care if we burn dinner or fight about laundry. I just want to keep coming home to you, forever. She covered her mouth, her eyes filling with tears. "You're serious?" "Completely." She didn't say yes right away. She just hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. When she finally pulled back, she smiled through her tears and whispered, "Yes." When love became a home. We didn't have a grand wedding, just a small ceremony with friends, a cheap dress she looked like magic in, and vows spoken under the open sky. Years later, when people ask how we met, I always start with, she walked into my room one winter with 2 suitcases. We've moved houses since then. Bigger kitchens, brighter windows, better neighborhoods. 2 mugs in the kitchen, and fairy lights somewhere in the house. Because home isn't walls or furniture. Home is the person you choose again and again, through the storms, through the fights, through the years. And for me, home will always be Sophia.